You've got to go until 11:15.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Okay. Are the rest of us okay until the normal time, Peter? You're
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you better now, Peter?
Yeah, I'm in good shape, all in all, not complaining.
Well, bits falling off. Right, that's great. Okay, right, folks, welcome to the meeting of the Standing Orders Working Group. We have apologies from Nick Gray, who is travelling at the moment, and everyone else is present. So, declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? No. We circulated some minutes, and are there any issues with those minutes people want correcting or anything like that?
No.
No. Fine, minutes are accepted. Fine, I will send them on to Jill. Right. Public participation, I don't think there is any, but of course we may have some during the session, right? Thank you. And so let's go into that. I sent you an email, I think it was yesterday or the day before. There was a bit of a mix-up. I got mixed up between two things. The standing orders will be presented to the July Sandwich Town Council. At first there was some doubt about it. They might have gone to August, but then I'm not sure how often the August one actually occurs. And I remember you were surprised when the F&G when you said, someone said, "Oh, we won't be having an August one." And you said, "What?" Which is absolutely spot on.
The town council meeting will still happen. There's not any plans at the moment to stop it.
No, as long as it's poured, that's all that matters. Anyway, it's definitely in July for the standing orders.
Okay.
So it strikes me that what we would want to do first is go through the document to make sure we have a good, clean, final version. There may be one or two things we would want to say to the council. We believe this, or you might think that. For example, Mark Morehouse came back to me, and I shared it with you, but you may not have had a chance to look at it. He said he doesn't see why both DDC councillors shouldn't attend any council meeting. We had suggested alternate. So we could just put that section in italics and say you can have that, or you can have that, whichever you want. He did say he sees no question why we shouldn't be asking questions of external councillors. And he questioned the other thing that we've talked about briefly, and so-called observer status, which is non-existent, as you probably all know about.
And what about a written report?
Yes, he didn't mention that, but as he didn't say no, because I sent him the 4 paragraphs that we had completed, and I just lifted them straight and copied and pasted it to him, and he made no reference to it. So if he didn't say no, to me the answer is yes.
Well, I did send another suggested section 6.6.6, which I've actually just pasted into this document, which let's come to that later.
Yes.
Yeah. So just because I know we are talking about the discussion at the town council meeting, aren't we?
That's once we have this complete, then it's what we want to raise.
Just one thing not to lose sight of. Some of the stuff that we're recommending is expanding the time that's consumed, so that it's having a line to take. So, for example, more time on public participation.
Yes.
More time on DDC.
KCC.
And KCC participation.
Yes.
The kickback might be actually the council business to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So just making sure there's a line to take.
I think.
I understand that, and in respect of DDC and KCC, because they provide so many services to the town, and because one of the big campaign issues was that they need to be accountable for the services they provide. I think it's important that we give an appropriate amount of time and thoroughness to what they're providing and what they're reporting to
Agreed
us.
completely.
I would agree with that.
That's probably the line to take.
Similar view?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But it is necessary, and it may also save time later on.
Yes.
And also the other issue is how well meetings are chaired, and we have to, there's been issues in the past with things over the years, and some have been chaired well and some have not been chaired so well. Well, right, okay, so here's the first thing to go through this document, and Rhonda can see if there's anything else that is still outstanding, and then so we'll be complete when you have to go, and then we can continue discussion about what are the possible pinch points as far as the council will be concerned, because there will be some different things. We have, I think, 2 items still outstanding, which is one, are we sitting or are we standing? And so I think we should call ourselves the sitting orders, working party, not the standing order working party.
Sneaking. Well, just very quickly, I think it's a contentious issue because even in this group we've got 2 for and 2 against at this meeting, so we're already into casting votes.
I could do a casting vote, couldn't I?
At this meeting, you can.
No, we haven't actually done any votes, have we?
We're too back with the essence.
I'm hoping that the new filming arrangements for the IT will actually help with that, thinking about it.
Yes.
So maybe there is an electronic solution here, something wired to the chair.
An AI solution.
Of a laser just above head height and won't be standing.
But it's a fair point. One of the challenges is about the ability to hear somebody speaking in a crowded room. If we've got mic installation, etc., that will take one issue away.
Yes, and because particularly for people behind us, there is a genuine problem of knowing who's speaking. But of course, if the layout gets altered, we might.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, last time we got up to, I think, about section 6 of the document. Do we want to start there, or do you want to start at the beginning? And then the other thing is that you sent out this colour-coded list of things. Do you want to work through them? How do you want to proceed?
I prefer to go through this document first, because that
from the beginning.
I think from the beginning I suggest. So
okay, might be a lot of flicking through, which is good.
Yeah, it really is wherever we've got something that's highlighted. Now, Jill has not come back to me. She did ask the question, have we taken out so much from 2.1.4? Remember, there were a great long list of duties there. A to K or something were deleted. And we felt that this was really not part of standing orders, but this was really more to do with,
Okay, so let's leave that for Jill to come back to us. We've put in to complete the tasks assigned to the Mayor under the standing orders.
Okay, okay, I'll take a note of that. Jill to decide. Yeah, and that again, I mean, I think that should be in the job description, to be honest, or in, right, 232, I think, yes, that is agreed now.
Okay, so I can accept that change then as we go.
Change. Yes. What's the green now? Oh yes, we're going to be able to give 5 to council committees, subcommittees and working groups. Are we all happy with that?
Yes.
Yes, accept please. So that would be 23KL or something like 23L. Right. Opening through, what's this next one? Will check at their respective committees who shall hold office. Yes, this is what we suggested because we were not too happy that the best thing was to do to elect the committee chair at the annual meeting, because it might not, a person might not be.
So we want to put this into italics. That's what we said. Anything that we wanted to draw the attention of the town council to would go in italics.
Okay, STC. Yep, that's good.
And this previously, unless the committee chair has already been deleted at full council, we're accepting that change, are we? Or do you want to leave that in?
Confidential.
Yeah.
So So what's the choice that we get in here? It's 2 paragraphs. So what have we been asked? Oh, sorry, we're still on 314.
We're still on 314, but there was a sentence at the beginning of 314 which read, unless a committee chair has already been elected at full
I would
council.
leave it out. Let's empower the committees. If the council wants to do it differently, then...
So we accept that change.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Right, now this next one, this was where you were to propose a draft. Emmett, and I put your draft in highlighted below. So if you're all happy, I'll delete the original draft. I just wanted people to be able to see the two.
Suitable for me, yeah. Martin, you have
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
I'm with it.
The substance is the same.
Yes.
I think so. 3, 1, 5. Yep. Okay, this is where this system for the public viewing, it falls down, doesn't it? That they can't see the screen anyway. Oh well, sorry. Right, and it's going to go into normal text. Right, now we added 316, specifically town councillors, other than committee members, may attend meetings of each committee, may participate in discussions, but may not vote.
Yes.
Content?
Yep.
And that, yeah, the town bit is the critical one. So 316. Right.
I can just tidy up all of those, I just formatted.
Now, for agreement 338, I think we
336.
336. So 336 is right.
Okay, so this is quorum. Yeah.
This is quorum. This is what we think.
Yeah, now I did actually change when I put this table in, I did actually change the non-councillors no voting rights in respect of working groups, because the terms of reference for working groups says you can have up to 4 non-councillors with no voting rights on a working group.
Okay. All content?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that just for working groups?
That's just for working groups. I've got the question mark against subcommittees. The number, you can see I've put 5 subcommittees.
Okay.
Number of councillors 5 question mark, and non-councillors 3 question mark.
Okay,
I
so we
think it should
need
be
to.
up to 3, surely.
Do we have an example of a subcommittee?
Well,
Let's
we've
get
got
the around this.
Heritage and Townscape. They've got, at the moment, they've only got 1 non-councillor, which is the person from the town team. And that lady doesn't have voting Carol, yes.
But that's a committee, isn't it?
That's a committee. Oh, do you mean a subcommittee?
Yes, but any examples?
You've got your IT one, is that a working group or a
It's a working
All
group.
we've got, sorry, I think all we've got are working groups, so it's the...
Okay, well if this is for agreement by the town council, shall I take that the 2 question marks off, because in many respects it's all up for discussion,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
just highlight it in italics.
Yes, that's great, yes, and I've got a note of that as well, 336, yeah.
Okay,
Right on, good.
let me just do, if you don't mind, gentlemen.
I suppose the difference between a subcommittee and a working group is that subcommittee is open-ended.
It is open-ended, I think, and also it's more formal.
Yes.
Whereas working parties, to a certain extent, we are much looser and we don't call each other councillors, we call each other other things, but
Also, I think that you can only be a member of a subcommittee if you are a member of the main committee.
committee are the main, I see, okay. Whereas a working group here, we're all on different committees. aren't
Yeah,
we?
we can just.
So should I put that in, Martin, 5 from the committee?
Okay. Good,
Yes.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yep. Meetings notice, Yes, so we've just repeated that.
Yeah.
But we ought perhaps ought to say, somebody might misinterpret that, I'm just trying to be ultra cautious. The notice needs to be given in section 232, and i.e. minimum of 3 working days, but you also say something about full guidance is in 232.
Yes.
I just think that somebody may misinterpret that. And we're trying to be helpful, but
Mm-hmm.
Shall I put it in brackets then?
yes, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, that's fine. All right, and I would say we accept that. And
A full notice of
Sorry.
meetings shall be as given in section 2, shall be in compliance, or
sure.
so,
No,
are you just
shall
happy to leave it
comply.
like that?
What shall comply with 232? Or shall be as given? I'm not too.
Okay, so just leave it as it is.
I would have thought so.
I would say section 232 gives full guidance on how notice of meeting should be arranged. And then in brackets.
It's another way of doing it. Yeah. Section
Good
232.
idea.
Good, yeah. Gives full guidance. Good point.
And then a minimum. EG, should I put EG or?
Yes.
E.g. yes, E.g. There are some
Yeah.
slightly more obscure ones. Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, these are just additions.
Yeah, I can just tidy those.
Yes, that's
the
fine.
text space up on
That's
those.
all that happens at an annual meeting.
Now, this is the slightly 439 to include an action list to be tracked, which isn't happening so far, is it?
Not typically. No.
No, but we want a bit. We want a bit.
What's with the adverb?
In our IT working group, we are.
Ah, right. And
Well,
to a certain extent, we're doing. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Sorry, what do you do?
So each set of minutes includes at the bottom an action.
Yes.
When we come to the next meeting, we actually
Yeah.
go through each action. So we're doing a deliberate review of actions rather than the moment. It's certainly ad hoc in terms of actions from the past, and they disappear.
They do. And I've had to question a few at the meeting and so on. I think others have had to question, well, what happened to this?
So this is something we want to draw our attention
Yes.
to. So this
Yeah.
is.
So I've got the note, it's both an STC issue and it's a resources issue,
Yeah.
because until Jill is full-time.
That's it. Yeah, and so just very quickly on that, just for context, what Jill did suggest was that she holds a central log of all the actions. For me, I don't see that actually works, because actually just doing the minutes as a minute taker, putting in the actions is not difficult, it's a cut and paste, and then it's there in front of people rather than in a log held somewhere else.
And a member of the public also downloading
We'll see them.
the working papers will see it, and that's what we're trying to do. But also, a central file will then become, I've got to look down here and then the cost. No, I agree. No, I don't think so.
And that can be held. I don't see any reason why, if they've got resource to do it, but actually just getting it on the minutes as an extra deliberate piece.
Would we normally expect the clerk for the subsequent meeting to give an update in relation to each of the points? A written update? I'm trying to think of the workload on the clerk.
Yes, so what would normally, I see it just as part of the minute taking process, Martin. So for example, within the log, you will say who owns the actions.
Yes.
So that person comes to the meeting or sends in a message beforehand to the town clerk, if it's a town clerk supporting meeting, that gives the update. And then in the person who's taking the minutes at that meeting, just notes what the update is. It's not.
Yeah, and it may well then come off completely.
Yeah, yes, exactly. They close as they go along.
No, it isn't. Okay, Peter.
Yeah, can I just bring you back? There was an action on 437 about the accuracy of minutes to do with digital signatures.
Okay.
I've not had a proper answer to that, and I think it's just been sheer pressure at work. Do we want to have that as a future? Because at one stage we were talking in theory, each page of the minutes should be signed by the clerk and the chair.
And that is happening in some meetings. It's certainly happening in finance meeting.
Is it?
Yeah, I saw Colin was, as chair, was signing them.
That's good. Well, do we want to put that back in, but as a, say, when resources permit? No?
I think it's just an action that we might want to keep up on a query list if we've got, for future improvements or whatever.
Yes.
So you don't want to put it in just now?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think, we don't want to address something which make it a requirement if we haven't got the technical solution to be able to back it up.
Okay, future of digital signatures. Okay.
And sorry, my second point is that you haven't, we've just said that the minutes would be signed by the chair. You were also talking about the town clerk signing the minutes as well. Of council meetings.
I think it's the chair's role.
I agree.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
it's just
my mistake. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, you're right. It should be the chair. The clerk to any meeting or secretary to any meeting should be providing accurate minutes, and the chair should be saying, "Yes, I accept these as an accurate record."
All right, let's crack on unless there's anything else.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so that's highlighted in italics.
Right. Absence from. This was this one about substitute members. Did we resolve this? I thought we had. Because a substitute occurs where someone who's on a committee or a meeting knows they can't be there.
Yeah.
They ask for a substitute to stand so you can be called up and conduct the meeting, but that substitute cannot be the chair of that meeting.
I think substitute committee members is a little bit confusing.
Yes.
I think the point you're trying to say is any substitute nominated by the chair or vice chair shall not be permitted to act as chair or without or we just take it out completely.
Just take it out. Well, how often do we use substitutes? I don't know.
We used to in Moscow.
Christina, do you recall many substitutes being used in the past since you've been filming?
No.
Okay, so it's pretty
Don't
rare.
think so.
Have we referred to substitute committee members
No.
anywhere else?
No.
So just dropping that
No.
in looks
Yeah.
very peculiar. There is no context about what we mean by substitute committee member to then lead to they can't be the chair.
And especially when it's in the middle of absence.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
The only occasion I can think of is perhaps with a co-optee, when someone else from the same organisation may have attended, but not councillors.
No, they would, if they were a co-optee, they wouldn't be chairing.
No, they wouldn't be chairing anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, Martin, sorry, I interrupted you.
I think it does fit with absence from committee meetings because
I think you're right, Martin, it does.
I think it's part of the system. The second thing is normally a council member is a substitute. We used to say can vote, but I don't see it.
Well, if you're a substitute, I'd like to, if you're a councillor and a substitute, I don't see why we can't. But this is about chairing rather than voting.
Yeah.
I think what you say is absolutely absolutely correct. It is really about chairing. So if,
Yes.
if you have a committee and a councillor can't make it, sends a substitute, that substitute hasn't actually been appointed to that committee.
No.
So when it comes to appointing a temporary chair in the absence of the chair as well, then actually that substitute is not eligible.
It is not part of the group
Because
before.
because they haven't been appointed as a committee
Okay.
member.
And that's, yes, that's right.
The more I read it, the more comfortable I get with it.
The what?
The more comfortable I am with
Oh, I
it.
see.
Well, shall we leave it then?
Yes.
And if the council wants to take it out, I'll take a note 461.
You want me to put it in italics?
Yes, please.
The point needs to be made.
Yeah.
And for me, reading it 3 times, it's maybe let's read it 3 times.
Only 3 times. Gee, yeah, my brain works quicker than mine. Right. Then we're on C. Are we happy with that? The order of priority shall be residence matter.
And again, this is something for the full council
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Yes.
This is 513C, is it?
Yeah.
And this is really a suggest to control time. Personally, I'm not sure how workable it's going to be.
No, I agree with you because actually it could be a pick and mix, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So if I'm number 2 on the list, but actually I've got 3, 4, 5, 6 on my.
It's,
If you know what it. Yes, you understand?
you get points.
Yeah. I'm a resident, but I'm not going to talk about anything to do with the council.
Well, you're at the end of the queue then.
Am I?
Yeah, well, you are, yes. I think you've got to use common sense in these things, and if you've got 5 people, then you just bite the bullet and say, right,
Yeah.
take all 5.
Yeah.
It's when you've got 20 people you've problems. Okay. The last thing, which is a better, speakers are encouraged to give a copy. That's not contentious. In fact, I think it's very similar to what we've got at the moment, isn't it? They're requested to. So that's italics, yeah. Right. We ought to. You've done this before. Right. This next one, we should take it out of
Yes.
the standing orders, but it
Yeah.
is something that we know we have to have
Yeah.
a better time alarm system, yeah?
So it's common tree, isn't it, for the town council?
Yeah. Right. Carry on. Next. Parks.
Sorry, was there something? Oh, no, that was just.
Right, what's this? So, yes, we think you should need to have, we need a vote for that, do you?
So what's the context of this?
The context is motions in respect of the following matters may be
Without-
moved
without
without
written-
written notice
it's
to
the
the
written.
proper officer.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can move a motion to extend the time for public participation
At the meeting rather
at the meeting rather than.
Yeah, that's fine.
So do we want to leave that in or put that in italics?
I think it's got to go in italics.
Italics. So there's 61Q. I'm quite sure I'm going to write these minutes. Gosh. 3 pages might change. Right, 6. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Right, this is one immediate. Standing invitation. Yes.
So
Is
these exchanges that took place over the last couple of days, I thought it was, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, was it about their involvement is not, they'd be treated as a member of the public to a committee meeting, wouldn't they? I think that's what I read, but Did I misinterpret that?
Right, in that case, let's say invitation. Decide an invitation of district and county councillors. Because the first one is about invitation, not involvement,
Yes.
and the second one is about invitation,
Yes.
rather than having an automatic role, and that also removes anyone claiming they're an observer.
Yes, so they could, yes, so I'm just thinking it through, so at a committee level, they could be adopted as a member of the committee,
Yes,
but through,
invitation.
yes, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I'm just lost on that. I was reading
Each
it.
committee-
So which words do you want changing here?
Just say decide on the invitation rather than decide on the involvement.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it just there. And that removes any assumption that they've got involvement as they choose, rather than as the council chooses.
Yes,
Are you happy with that?
Let me see if I can find the change.
I think so.
Okay. Forward.
And again, this is all going to be
Yes.
in italics.
Yeah.
I'd say the whole of 6.6. And also, sorry,
So 662 refers only to full council meetings. Just sort of.
yeah, I think that's right, because
Yes.
at the council meetings, their role is to give us updates on DDC and KCC.
Yes.
At committees, their role might be not less about giving updates, but then giving advice, information, participation, etc.
Yeah.
I think that's right, Colin, yeah. BBC are requested or must provide a written report.
Well, you know, this is, I'm not comfortable with the second part of 662 because I've put in this 666 below at the annual meeting of the council shall formally request county and district councillors to submit a written report to the council at least every 3 months, covering the services for which they are accountable. The written report shall include a review of the key decisions, key issues, decisions and the votes that they've made, a look ahead for key issues that would have an impact on Sandwich, an update on issues, complaints, petitions or requests made by the council or Sandwich residents, a statement of the financial performance of the district or county councils against budget.
Can I ask what you mean by section 3? Is this people complaining direct to DDC or KCC?
Well, it's where, you know, somebody contacts DDC and says the street lighting outside my house isn't working, right? Because I would like to understand the number of issues that have been raised by residents of Sandwich and how many of those have been cleared and so forth.
So I would suggest if you're going to include that, that's quite a big ask for the whole gambit of that. Could it be the ones that actually are directed to them as councillors? So for example, complaints.
Potholes.
Yeah. Umpteen. That the KCC councillor would only be able to find out all that happens by going to that department, requesting them, and then understanding them, and then feeding back. I'm just saying, it might be too big an ask. Just might be.
Yeah, I agree. You maybe don't want to go into the minutiae, although maybe it might highlight that members of the public can affect and get things done.
Yeah.
I'm puzzled by the need for the annual meeting of the council to request these reports.
Well, I think it is important that we should do that on an annual basis because the district or councillors may change or the services that are provided by Dover or Kent may have altered.
So it's a formalisation which says,
Yes.
let's remind you that what we would wish to see is whatever that is.
So we're asking for a report
3 times a year.
to,
To where?
3 times a year to Sandwich Town Council. At least every 3 months, covering the services for which they are accountable. Yeah.
Before wouldn't it?
Okay, so this is a much more comprehensive report than the ones they give on a monthly basis.
Well, it just seems to me that at the moment, when I've been at meetings, councillors will come in and they'll talk about good news stories about how the district council has done something which may have a political spin on it. And I just feel that we really want them to talk about things. And you know, I'm really surprised that we didn't get any advance notice about things, changes in services brought about by budgetary requirements. You know, the disposal of assets and so forth. Yeah. So that's why I think it's important that they cover all of these items.
Yes.
The council can delete it if they choose to, but we will put it in and then say, but also, don't forget, if I'm going to be writing to the 3 people, we might see a few sort of smoke signals being exchanged between these 2.
I can understand that, but as far as I'm concerned, from a council point of view, we have discharged our obligation to hold these people accountable, and they've taken on the role. They know what services are provided by the different councils, district or county council, and they're our representatives. They are the representatives of
I think you're right, Peter, and the reality is, we are entitled to make that request.
Yes.
Yes.
And equally, they are entitled to decide how they want to respond to that.
Well, that's exactly right, and that would be, you know, a commentary on how well they are representing the residents that vote.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the payments they receive are not insubstantial. You know. Okay, so we'll say that.
Okay, so I can delete this. Where councillors are not in it, they are requested to provide a written report to the meeting.
I think they should still do that because it might be something that isn't on a 3 monthly cycle.
Yeah.
For example, Beth's hangar.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Which has been rejected, of course. Yes. I mean, we knew it 3 different resources. Yes, I'm conscious of time. 7 minutes. I am a railwoman. 7 minutes. Christine,
So this
do you want to say anything? No, okay.
I'm good.
So this 664 about alternative councillors.
I think put or, just say, and give them the choice.
Yeah, the mayor's point was not that they would alternate their attendance, but they would alternate in terms of giving a report.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
So you don't get two reports from DDC councillors, each of which is trying to
So, Christine, let me just read this and then we'll come back to it in a second, please. The district reporting will alternate. Okay, I'm not sure about this. Christine, sorry.
I was just thinking that the 2 district councillors might actually have had close involvement in different areas.
Yeah.
So it might not be a complete overlap.
Well, going by what the mayor said you want.
I just think that whole chunk is a little bit confusing and unclear. So, for example, a councillor misses a meeting, they give a written report. So they will only report every 2nd meeting.
Yeah.
But every 3rd meeting, because they're monthly,
The 2 of them
they have to do
either a joint or
full, if they miss a meeting, they have to give a report in writing.
Okay.
So it's all the what's the clear picture we want? What do we want?
Can we use the usual safety net and say unless the chair decides otherwise?
I mean, I would like to be able to tie our three councillors down a lot more.
So,
And I think you do as well. I don't think there's any question about
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
so let me just give a suggestion. So what we're saying is if we drive it from the really important suggestion that Peter's made around this full report. So that's your every 3 months you do that.
Yeah.
Okay? In the intervening period you want a report from each of them each month. And if they're not talking, I would ask that they give a written report. A brief written report. It can be their good news, whatever they want. But one councillor at each meeting speaks. That's what I would be suggesting.
Okay.
If there is a meeting with the mayor, I think this is something
Yes.
which would need to be raised with.
I've asked Jill, but so far she hasn't come back. But let's put that as pure pressure of work.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. That's the problem with it. So how do we want to phrase it? The two district councillors, unless specifically or
I'm not sure what that's trying to say.
the two district will either speak or give a written report, and this will alternate. How about that? Who are district councillors?
So isn't there are two districts given? Isn't the expectation that at each meeting on an alternating basis,
One will speak,
Yeah.
and one will
and
give
that
a
means
report.
that it's not letting them not attend, it's giving them a choice to attend or not if it's not their turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're not requiring them to be there if they're not going to speak? Are we?
No.
No. One will provide.
One will speak, and the other.
Don't say that.
Yes, one will speak unless specifically requested by the district council or the town council. Yeah, so that's right. Yes, that comes out. No, you still. I keep the final clause in about a written report may also be submitted if the councillor wishes, if the district councillor wishes. They need to be specified. And they're not necessarily absent; they might be present.
So go on, say that again.
Right.
I think this can't type as
A
much as
written
it
report
is.
may also be submitted if the district councillor wishes.
Do you want that if no attendance is required by this? That can come out.
Yeah.
I would suggest from the word unless, we should take that out. I'm not sure, that doesn't. At each council meeting on an alternating basis, one will speak.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Unless specifically requested by the council or the council. And I would take out, if no attendance is required, take that bit out.
Yeah.
If we want them to attend,
Yes.
if no attendance is required, we'll just say a written report may also be submitted if the other councillor wishes, if the councillor wishes. Because that leaves it up to them. They're not necessarily absent.
So let me just place an scenario to you. If the councillor whose turn it is to speak is unable to attend,
Then he must provide.
a written report. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's right.
I would feel happier if instead of the word speak, we had something a bit more precise. The report.
Yeah.
We'll provide an oral report or an oral update. Is that, you said speaking is too vague?
Yeah.
What you know?
Yeah.
1 minute.
Or just provide a report, whether it's oral or written.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A written report may also be submitted if the if the
At
other
least one
committee-
will provide a report.
No, just say one will provide a report, and that's specifically about. A written report may also be submitted by the other councillor, or if the other councillor wishes. if the other councillor wishes it.
Yeah.
And I think does that satisfy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks very much.
Sorry.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Is it pleasure or business or don't tell me?
Both.
Both.
Well, not at the same time.
Oh, what a shame. Thank
Okay,
you.
good to see you.
Okay, we're still quorum because there are three of us. Right? Cheers.
Right, I'll just use this opportunity to take a quick break, please.
Yes. Right. It's just you and me. We can't make decisions because we're not quorum. Oh dear. I'll have a quick word with you afterwards about the professor and so on, the thing you spoke to me about.
Oh, yes.
You are still alive.
That's what I did discuss before. Oh dear me. It's so much quieter now, isn't it?
Well, we haven't got the angle grinder going on
That's right.
the stonework at the moment.
That's right. Getting stiff there. So it's getting stiff city.
Yeah.
Have I got solar power now? Oh, right. Oh. I should have brought my daily for socket.
Starting to rain.
Oh, what a shame for the market.
First day back. Right. Okay, folks.
So I think it's good to stand up.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? That's what I found until I found this. I went this physio. I was in agony when after last Thursday. You know, sitting for so long. And, you know, you lost the weight.
Most dangerous thing we do.
It is. We are, yes I know, we are resuming now, because we are quorum. Right, so we do
Right,
our
665,
Yep. We are
oral reports given, do we want to,
supplementary, yes.
on the oral report as given?
Yeah. Irrelevant to the town. Why do we still work and the county or district?
Because we're saying, because what we're saying is that the town councillors may ask questions about, may question the district or council, or district or county councillor. Okay, so this 666 we've already discussed. Do I need to put a cross-reference to this 666 in the annual general meeting?
Yes, I think that would be useful.
Okay, and then I did have a whole list of services on a table, if you remember.
Yes, I thought that was almost up. It was extremely long.
And that's where I wasn't too sure whether we should include that in. I think that's just a note to the town clerk for her letter.
So if we just say list of service to report on shall be confirmed by the proper officer.
Right.
Yes?
Yeah.
Right. Super. Well done. This was about as far as we got last time, wasn't it?
Yes, it is.
Still better.
Confidential matters.
This is, again, let me just check. Jill may have come back, but she hadn't as of 10:20 this morning. I did ask, but I think she's a little bit busy at the moment. I'm sure we will be response from Jill on this, so I think we just have to take the view that 7.2. Is that all in bold, or is that?
No,
It's not in bold, is it?
no, I was in favour of taking it out completely.
So, and replace it, just confidential matters go straight to information security as 7.1.
Well, that's the general thing about information security. Should take all due precautions to ensure the security and integrity of the information that they receive or create.
Could you toggle down a little bit further, please?
Ross, you know?
There's quite a lot there.
B talks about confidential information. D talks about confidential.
Well, those are involved, so that's legislation. We can't do anything about that. Should we just stick to that then? Do we feel that's covered everything? Unless there's anything about reminding councillors they have a duty to keep, well, that stays in the legislation, isn't it? And then we've got the next section, is confidentiality. I would delete 7.1 and go straight to 7.2, which is then gets renumbered.
Yeah.
I'm just not so sure that we shouldn't define confidential information relating to people, commercially sensitive matters.
Right.
But it says in the 722 that we shall have policies and procedures in place. Okay, to respond to an individual. But it goes on. Technical and organisational measures, I think covers it.
Yes, Christine?
Those are in bold, so they're going to be backed by legislation, aren't
Yes,
they?
they
So
are.
it's often best to leave that sort of thing in if it doesn't conflict with something else.
Well, we can't change it, can we?
No, you can't change the wording.
No, and all we could do is supplement it.
Yes.
We did talk about a reference to.
Well, we
Oh
asked-
yes, and then Nick said that he'd rather there wasn't a reference. It's GDPR and.
Yeah. No, can I just read 7.1 again and let's see, I think we maybe have an introductory paragraph.
Yes, Mary, please.
Can I suggest we retain 7.11 and 3, 7, and the rest of it, that gives you a general introduction, is you've got to
No.
maintain.
I mean, it came down to which they believe to be confidential. I mean, that's as long as we can say.
Okay, fair enough. Christina, yes?
I think also if we think about just where it says no member of the council, we've got who is a member of the council. You could say it's councillors, officers, staff, and volunteers who are actually basically unpaid staff in a sense. I think it wouldn't hurt to actually define who this group of people is, because this is about people talking, isn't it? This isn't this paragraph here, 711, about the disclosure. This is perhaps where we've had situations where certain personal information has actually been disclosed on social media around the town, whatever else. And is this not perhaps intended to prevent that?
Well, that's why I agree with you, Christina, but that's why I still feel that we ought to set out a bit of a definition as to what we mean about confidential information.
Yeah, I
Because
think
confidential information you know, personal emails and things like that, whilst they're subject to data protection and so forth, we should as a council set out what we consider to be, you know, tender bids. I had an instance just this last week where a paper that was submitted to a working group contained the names of the bidders. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that is a confidential matter,
Yes, I saw
and
that.
it should not be allowed. So I think we need to give people some guidance as to what we define to be confidential matters, and obviously personal information and home addresses and salaries and all of those things.
Absolutely.
Okay, because your concern is confidential, just that definition up there is a piece of string, it could be anything. It
Yes.
could be somebody being obstructive, saying, I can't tell you.
722 requires us to do exactly what Peter has just suggested. In other words, to have a clear policy and procedure.
Yes.
Showing individual response to an individual.
Yeah, but that's just his personal data.
No, it goes on. If you read on, it covers, I think, all the angles.
Yes, sorry, Christina, you want?
Yes, I mean, this really should be by reference to things that we should have a data controller within the council. I don't know who that person is. Perhaps that comes under the auspices of the town clerk. But there needs to be a data controller, and then with regards to what can and cannot be disclosed, that needs to be by reference to the Data Protection Act and the Freedom of Information Act and the transparency regulations.
I think to put all of that in standing orders.
No, I mean, you can't put it all in there, but I think perhaps some as Peter was suggesting, some form of supplementary document that actually explains it in an easy to digest format, because you can't expect staff and councillors to be referring to the original legislation all the time.
If you want something general in the first paragraph, I would make it even more general, just say all councillors will bear in mind the need to abide by the policies and procedures set up under 722.
Under 7.2.
Yes.
And this, the examples might equally include.
Oh, well, okay.
Would you be content with that?
But I just think this phrase is which they believe to be confidential.
Well, it's been abused. Let's be quite blunt, it was abused. Right. Yes, Christine. Yeah.
Slightly bigger than the standing orders, but I think also procedures relating to what happens if there has been a disclosure, because we know that those have happened, and I'm not sure that I've ever seen the procedures relating to them.
No, I think that's right, but as you say...
Sorry, that comes under G there.
Yeah.
The council should keep a record of all data breaches comprising the facts relating to the personal data breaches, effect and the remedial action taken. Council ensure its information given to privacy notices is easily accessible.
Yeah, so the legislation covers that. Right. Decision time.
Well, I think if we just change section 1, no member of the council or an officer shall disclose to any person not a member of any information which is confidential.
Yeah.
Examples of which are?
Yeah, and then yes.
Yeah.
I think we'd have tenders, personal information,
And if we were to say
commercial
personal information addresses.
There are the 3 exceptions in the Freedom of Information Act, aren't there? Personal information, commercial information,
Yeah,
and security information.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we had security implications, but
I can't talk about that.
you can't tell us about that. MI5, you signed your there.
That's on the Secrets Act.
Well, just when I worked on the Olympics, we used to have these big meetings and everybody would introduce themselves at the beginning, and obviously there was a lot of security arrangements and the Home Office and Special Branch and stuff like that. We'd go around and everybody would interact, I'm Peter Breen, I'm heading up procurement on this. My name's John, that's all you need to know about me.
I've done that. We've been there. Okay, so no member of the council, whether a councillor or an officer,
Shall disclose to any person not a member of any information which is confidential, examples of which are personal information.
and just I just leave personal information. I wouldn't specify addresses, etc. Because it could be salary.
Or should I just put any personal, commercial or security information?
Yes, Christine.
I feel that's a little bit too broad because it's only certain types of commercial information at certain times. So it's almost as though you perhaps, you could say, for example, may include, but it has happened in the past where in meetings sort of where the press and the public are excluded, it's been said, well, this is commercial, and in actual fact, but it hasn't met the criteria for excluding the press. Yes, it's been commercial, but it hasn't actually met the criteria. So commercial is quite broad, is what I'm saying, and to put it on there, that's actually giving a very broad brush.
Okay. Well, the same personal information, that's probably commercial, e.g. tender lists.
It's as it's going through the tender process.
Ooh, it is really.
All sorts of commercial information that we should
I would just leave security information. Oh, you, Peter.
Okay.
I think all 3 of us have been there at various times.
Yeah.
Just leave it. This said, and I think that 713 should be retained.
Are you happy with that commercial information? Tender lists and tender bids. Tender sums can be published, but so it's just tender bids.
Yeah.
Up until the point of
I
award.
was going to say,
Exactly. With regard to salaries, that isn't entirely personal because salaries will relate to a position, and so and in actual fact some of them are disclosable. They're also very easy to work out from the financials.
No, sorry, this is where I'm bringing my expertise in. Salary scales are not confidential, salary points are confidential, and I don't think anybody in this organisation has sufficient salary to make it declarable.
Not anymore. We did have somebody, but I don't think
I think we shut that down.
Salary points.
Salary points.
Yeah.
Yes. Telephone numbers, health information, e.g. Okay. And then commercial information, tender lists, tender bids, to point of contract award, security information. Does that cover most things? Yes, Christina.
Performance.
No,
Sort of,
I think
No.
you can have such a long list.
yeah, I would be happy with your initial idea, which is not to give examples of examples.
I think because I could think of so many different things that you could put in there that you would have a great long list. I think we have to use a bit of common sense. No, problem is common sense is, the problems. Yes, Christina.
It's very rare.
If you're having the list at all, I would include something to do with performance because it's been a matter of public discussion. So, historically, I just put it next to salary points. I just appraisals or performance or anything like that. Something, something relating to the management of the staff and so forth.
Home telephone.
Yes, I was going to say, because they're on our website.
If you declare this.
Okay.
Yeah. I would just say
Personal.
this isn't it isn't exhaustive, so I would say e.g. personal information, e.g. commercial information, e.g. and security information. We don't put any e.g.s. Do not contact Putin, yes. Right.
Okay.
I think 212 is just a can of worms. The need to know, that is the classic of, well, you don't need to know this, so I won't tell you.
So we've taken that out.
Yes, take
Agreement.
that. I'll delete that.
I'm sorry, just this introductory.
Yes, just delete the whole.
That whole.
Yeah.
So, handling of.
Confidential information. Yeah. Okay.
And you've got the word examples which are much
Yeah, that's a fair point, but I think for once pedantry is probably the right thing to do in this case. And just put it, otherwise we will get there. Okay. Right. Now, do we want to retain what was 713 now becomes 712? Any material with protected markings or restricted or
We just say protected markings because we don't actually have a.
No, it's just, no, we don't. I have not seen. Well, we might, yes, protective.
Well, that should be in the policy type of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. But I would just say members will ensure that any materials with protective markings are treated as such.
Yes. I'm keeping restricted private.
So is it a
Oh,
member
sorry,
or
no,
officers?
I meant to delete of restricted or
Yes.
private and confidential.
The concern I've got there, Martin, is that some people may not fully understand protective markings. It would seem odd, but I think some people say, oh well, it's restricted. Depends where you work.
I think we actually need sort of the policy in a sense there, because something may be marked confidential quite correctly today, but 2 months down the line, that is no longer confidential.
That is true. I mean, it comes back time and time again. There needs to be a proper policy.
That's what it needs.
I think I'll take a special note of that.
Yes.
Simple one. We need a
Well, do we need 711 that everyone associated with the council should comply with the confidentiality policy?
Yeah.
Yes, because
If we have
it does cover people being co-opted onto.
Well, that would replace all of it then. Every member of the council shall comply with the confidentiality policy.
Can you say anyone dealing with council business?
Well, that could be someone watering flowers.
I think it should apply to everybody.
I think that should be in the policy. This is standing orders for proper working of the council. I think the two are slightly different.
Yeah.
Clearly, it should be, when we get a written policy, that should identify who is covered.
Yes.
Then I think that's the point.
Okay. I mean, normally a member of the council means a councillor.
Yes, but in this case, it will also be officers, staff. Apply with these. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and then there's. And then we would take the rest of 7 one
Yes.
back.
I
Yeah.
like- I like that.
Yeah, that's
Is
fine.
that an additional or instead of?
Instead of, I think.
Instead of everything else,
So, yeah, I think so.
we just take all of that, that's
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Right, Eric?
gone.
And then 7.2 is the legislation, which we must include. Yep. Confidentiality of meetings.
Yeah, some important points in here. So.
I'm not happy with 734. Because it could be a collective dispute, which is not, which other members, different if it's a grievance or an individual dispute. But if it's something like a collective dispute, that is, that goes too far. Or if it's a thing like, we don't like the salary scales we're on, that is not, just as we've said, the HR committee, some aspects of the HR committee are not confidential. This is just going too far, but I'm wearing my industrial relations bandana hat at this point.
You'd like to take that as
Shall we refer to meeting? Yes, because we
Refer to the meeting of the Human Resources Committee first.
I mean, it will be set out in their terms of reference as to what they deal with and what they don't deal with. I tend to agree. I don't think.
I would just say we can refer to the Human Resources Committee. Elsewhere we have defined the Human Resources Committee. Some aspects are undoubtedly confidential and some aspects are not. I would take the whole of the second sentence out. From such items will be, because otherwise we're just repeating ourselves. We're doing precisely what.
I would like to add on just to that sentence, in accordance with the committee's terms of reference.
Yes, I'm happy with that. I'd be happy with that. Right, we have about 45 minutes left, folks.
I have at the back of my mind the debates about what the Finance and General Purposes does and what the Human Resources Committee does, because that is a complex area which we will come to probably.
When we do terms of reference for committees, right? Right, okay. Code of
So, in accordance with the terms of reference for the committee.
for that committee.
Or
Yeah.
That's fine, great. So we will say the whole section 7 is cut down, but we need a policy.
so then, code of conduct, this seems to be mostly standard stuff, but there's an action on 8.2 for Jill. Could you please check if this is milk or not?
She hasn't had a chance to come back.
So we should leave that for the time being.
Yes, Christine.
Is there something here about disclosable pecuniary interests for co-optees and so forth? are they included in there anywhere? I'm just not sure that I noticed it.
This committee.
Where it says a person with voting rights.
Yeah, but but the idea of people with pecuniary interests actually leaving the room while matters are discussed is so they don't influence the outcome, and that influence could come just as easily from someone who's a co-optee with pecuniary interests as it would from a councillor.
They may make representation, they answer questions and give evidence, which to a certain extent contradicts what you're saying. The key thing is voting. You can say, yes, I am a member of, this particular group, and we are pushing hard for whatever it is. If that's the legislation, I will ask Chris.
I think we need to check the NALC thing, like where it says Jill to check, because the NALC guidance was actually quite clear on people leaving the room, I believe. But it may be they can make their representations, answer questions, and then leave, whilst the members continue to deliberate the matter and then go to the vote.
Well, the C is quite clear. You can either leave or you can stay, but you can't engage in the voting process if it is not practical to leave. So it's answered for us, isn't it? I will just ask Jill to please, can she check 821 in Nick's absence, because Nick was the person that had, I think, a master document.
And
okay.
Could she also check whether it applies to co-optees, because this says councillor, so...
But it's legislation.
Yeah.
We can't change that.
No, but we can add to it. I mean, I don't know what we want to do with that, but...
I don't really think that co-optees do have voting rights. I don't think we're really kind of giving them voting rights, are we?
We have, I think, on certain committees.
Yes,
Not they don't vote on planning.
Councillors with voting rights, non-councillors, no voting rights.
Okay, question answered. Thank you, Peter. Yeah. Right. Okay, how are we doing? Right, article. Okay, this again is legislation. Right, okay, other restrictions. We said no councillor should claim. Yeah, we clear that up, and we said no councillor claim to represent the council without a resolution authorising him to do so. Yeah, full stop. And also, I shall not. Unless of a regulation, no councillor shall inspect. Yes, so the negative is there. Yeah. Okay. To represent their person. Yeah. 3 is fine.
Martin, there's a note here suggests 843 should replace 841 and 2 and 4 need to discuss.
I said 841 and 843 say the same thing. I just thought 843 was a slightly better text.
There's a hair's breadth difference between the two, isn't there? I would suggest leave it in the moment. Right on.
Delete the comment.
Delete the comment. Yeah.
And you've made a comment 914 and 5 deleted. I don't know why you've done it there.
Oh.
On the 8th of July.
I really can't remember. It's 914 and 5 on this. I think it must have been 814 and 5. Why did one want to delete them? No, delete that as well, please. Okay. We don't have a lot of choice on this one. That's legislation.
Yes, I remember that. Legal deeds.
No difference on that.
I think that's it.
That's it. Bye then.
Hey!
Well, hey, relax. Sorry, it's only water. Okay, we have 40 minutes left. Do
Okay.
you want to take a break, just a couple of minutes, and then take a note of what we want to say to specifically to the council, which is the list, you know, the colour-coded list I sent you folks.
Yeah, by all means. Just before we do, are you happy that if I go through the document on my own, put in the town press, call this the final draft, go through it and make sure that all of the bullets and subsidiary points are consistently, you know, whether it's A, B, C or D or
Yeah.
bullet, you know, which I prefer if we've got numbering to have A, B, C and D instead of bullets or
Yes, I know,
1,
that's
2, 3,
yes, so
4
a
and so forth.
consistent approach.
A
Yeah.
consistent approach. So if I do that over the course of the next couple of days, so I have it available for Monday.
Just don't call it final.
Just
The last time I was experience
alright,
tells me you avoid that word. That
Well,
word.
draft, then just call it a draft.
draft 1.
Yeah.
Or draft version 1.
Draft for full council meeting.
Draft for full council
Okay.
meeting. Yes, I think that's right, because we want a consistent format, and it needs to look right and look consistent. But I just ask one thing though, could you, because I'm going to have to write up some stuff, and I've got some guests staying tonight and tomorrow, I would probably like to work on some things on Saturday. Can you send me a copy of this, even without all your final version, so I can go through this? Because I think what I suggest I do is we have a summary sheet which says, you asked us to do this. This is what we have done. There are a number of differences. Our objective was to have something which is user-friendly, concise, etc., which I've got somewhere in the original terms of reference. However, we would ask the council looks in particular at, and that's part of this list, but it's also the colour-coded list that I sent to you. Is that probably the best way? I mean, would you do that in other places? Do you think that's a sensible approach to get people involved?
Yeah.
That way they can't say their attention wasn't drawn to contentious issues. Do I try to have a meeting with the mayor? I think the answer to that is probably yes, if we can fit it in. And I think I should, just purely as a matter of courtesy, write to the 3 councillors, 3 external councillors, and say, for your information, we have done this. I am circulating this to you. This will be discussed at the council.
Okay.
And I would welcome any comments they have in advance.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just take a note of that.
Do you need to say what else? I mean, with a report to the council, do you need to say anything about what still remains to be covered?
Well, we really only in standing orders. We haven't done financial regs, have we? And what else? We haven't done terms of reference.
Well, the financial rates are set out.
So what did we say we still haven't done then?
Well, you know, I'm still on the page that we need to do a cross-reference with the 3 documents that we were asked to look at, the policies and procedures. That was the standing orders, the schedule of delegations for committees, and the financial regulations.
Yeah.
Those were the 3
How do the
documents.
financial regulations differ from what we've got here? Is that a separate document?
It's a much more detailed.
Oh, okay.
document, yeah.
So we will say these are pretty outstanding. Now, the other question is this. Do we want to continue meeting throughout the remainder of July and August, or do we want to defer that and start again at the beginning of September? The reason is that we should, at the end of July, we will know what the council thinks. We may perhaps need to have a meeting, I think, sometime in August to make any amendments, and then submit the final document to the August council. Do you think that's the way to do it? What do you think?
What about people's availability?
Well, that's the next question, isn't
I
it?
have an availability problem in September and October.
Okay. Well, at the moment, I'm available for most of August. How about yourself?
I think so, yeah.
Right, okay. There's always unforeseen circumstances that creep
Our
behind
next
it.
circumstance will be October.
I think the town clerk is concerned about meetings happening in August because of the resourcing issue and issuing agendas. So we might just want to think about how to work how we can do things to.
Well, yeah, I understand that point. My, yeah.
Sorry. Can we have an informal arrangement with the town clerk that she takes good note, as we all will, I'm sure, of the comments made at the council meeting at the end of July, and then we simply assist her to produce a final version without her having to go through the rigmarole of convening a meeting and stuff.
The downside of that, I think, is that the five of us are now pretty familiar with this way of working, and we might be able to get through it more quickly. Plus, perhaps it's just me, but if it's the document that we're putting our names to, I'd prefer that we were the final arbiters of the final version. But that's, I personally would not want to delegate this to anyone else, as we've been tasked with the responsibility. But I'll have to be overruled if you folks think it's being too controlled.
I'm comfortable with the way you've been working.
Yeah, okay.
Well, let's make the suggestion that we see what happens. They won't accept absolutely everything. There will be some needs and things that we need to modify. I do not think we should be spending the whole of August trying to sort it out. We should maybe spend one meeting in August to say, okay, these are the points, how can we amend things? And then what we present to the council, be it August or September, to the clerk and the mayor, and to say, this is the version now that we believe is the correct version, and it's taken into account all of the issues, problems, objections raised.
Sorry, just from a logistics point of view, the full council meeting is a week on Monday.
Yeah.
So this paper needs to be into the council on Monday. We have the potential then, if we wanted to meet next week, to discuss the financial regulations or whatever.
We have. Would we need to have the RFO here when we talk about financial rates?
It would be sensible.
I will be next Thursday.
And the RFO is just coming back from break, so it's likely to be unavailable.
And if she's if the RFO is unavailable, I think we'd be missing a trick.
Yeah.
Okay, so timetable I've got then. You're going to endeavour to have that completed by Monday.
Yeah, I'll make sure I do.
I'll try to write some notes Friday into Saturday.
I'll do better. I'll make sure you have it by close of business tomorrow.
Well, even just a rough version. I don't need.
Well, I'll do the rough version you can have today, but
Yeah.
the clean version you'll
Okay,
have
that
by
would be great.
close
Okay.
of business tomorrow.
Okay, so clean by Friday. Okay. I'll do some rough notes on Friday into Saturday, which I'll circulate to you folks. Please correct me, because I think the earlier that Jill gets a full set of papers,
Oh, yeah.
the better.
Yeah.
And then plan to do by close of work Monday.
Right.
Give Jill
Sorry, Ian, can I just suggest that I think what we should put forward is the draft paper and a report in the format that the council have, so that the note that you're drafting should go to the council as a standard report.
Yes, is there where is
Yes,
that
there is.
format?
I'll send it to you.
Can you do that,
Yeah.
please? Yes. Yeah, it has to be in the, except we'll have quite a few points we will say, council is 316, for example, council to decide, or asked to decide.
Yeah, well, that's what you set out the background, set out the issues, and then set out the decisions required.
I know Jill has put the week's leave for that now.
Yes, she has.
She's away next week.
Yeah, so, well, we could, I mean,
But presumably Karen will deputise for her in issuing the papers for.
well, let's finish a little bit earlier and I'll go and try to confirm this with Jill and make sure that she's content with what we're doing. So we really, by close of work on Monday, we want to have our final versions
Yeah.
to give to them, right? Okay, because they'll need to issue whatever else they'll issue. Right. I think we might want to, I would be amazed if everything was accepted on the 30th of July, which suggests should we try to arrange a meeting, say the first week in August, to try to fettle up as much as we can.
While the council deliberations are fresh in our mind.
Exactly.
Good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I suggest a later start though, because I am missing out on a pleasurable social activity. We'll leave it at that. Okay, first week in August, but if we say something 11 o'clock start, and you, Christine has said you could have 11 o'clock start as well. Okay. Okay, first week in August. You're here, it's just next week, you're not around.
Yeah, I should be back by
Yeah. Okay, right.
Is that the 3rd or the 10th? Are you thinking, Ian?
I'm off.
That would be the third,
Third, yeah.
a few
Third.
days after the council meeting.
Which is yeah.
The council meeting is on the
31st.
31st.
first.
Yeah, that's just yeah.
So the council's on a Monday and this will be on the Thursday.
Okay. It's hard work, isn't it? Let me just double check.
Okay, are we done? Meeting
Well,
closed, is it?
Is there anything in the documents I sent to you folks that we need to, because I think it was fairly clear in the documents I sent you what STC to decide, STC to decide. Is there anything outstanding we haven't covered? I think we've probably covered most of it by going through this version as we did.
I believe we have.
Yes, I can't think of anything that's really.
You know the old saying about inundate them with paper.
Well, I will just double check as I go through it, all of the purple, which are the
What about
STC.
sitting or standing?
Sitting or standing. It's not actually mentioned in our standing orders.
No.
But that could be a separate, we said there are a few issues that they really want to raise again. Well, it's the layout, sitting or standing. Right. Most of this is SDC to confirm. I think really, I think the only one is, do you want to say sit or stand? It's not a stand, I don't think. It shouldn't be a standing order, should it? I don't want to split this committee anyway. I don't.
Just put it to the council, see what they think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll probably find the council split.
They'll have to have a casting vote. We know what that's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I think for a change, we're ahead of time. Okay,
Thank you.
right, thanks very much folks. It's been a long, hard slog. This. I was a bit concerned it would be deferred to August, but fortunately Joe's been here to continue. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Christina, also thank you for your very helpful contributions.
Thank you.